What if I told you that you could wipe out 10 of the worst pests in your garden and home using nothing more than Dawn dish soap and salt? No chemicals, no fancy sprays, just what's already in your kitchen. Sound crazy? It's not. And today I'm going to show you exactly how. Stick around because some of these tricks are shockingly effective and you'll wish you knew them sooner. 1. Aphids. To eliminate aphids using Dawn dish soap and salt, create a soapy water solution and spray it directly on the aphids. A common recipe mixing 1 to 2 teaspoons of Dawn dish soap into a quart of water. Before spraying the entire plant, test the solution on a small, inconspicuous area to check for any adverse reactions. If the test is successful, spray the solution on the infested plants, ensuring you cover both the tops and undersides of leaves, as well as stems and where the leaves attach to the stem. Aphids have a life cycle, so you may need to repeat the spraying every few days for several weeks to eliminate all aphids, including newly hatched ones. After the solution has been on the plant for a few minutes, you can rinse it off with water, especially if you are concerned about potential soap residue. 2. Ants. A mixture of Dawn dish soap and water can be used to kill ants on contact. The soap disrupts their ability to regulate water and can suffocate them. While not a long-term solution, it's a safe and effective way to eliminate ants found indoors. Salt can also be used, but more as a deterrent than a killer, as it can dehydrate ants. This is how to use Dawn dish soap and water. Combine water and Dawn dish soap in a spray bottle. A good ratio is about 2 ounces of soap to 32 ounces of water. Directly spray the solution onto ants, ant trails, or any area where you see ants. Wipe up dead ants and the soapy residue with a paper towel. Reapply as needed, especially if you see ants returning. To use salt, sprinkle salt around entry points where ants are coming in, such as windowsills, doorways, or cracks in the foundation. You can also create a line or barrier of salt along ant trails to deter them from passing. Reapply salt as needed, especially after rain or cleaning. 3. Slugs and snails. To deter slugs and snails, you can create a barrier with salt around plants or sprinkle it directly on the pests to kill them. Dawn dish soap mixed with water can be used to create a spray that will kill slugs and snails on contact by disrupting their protective layer. Let's look in more detail the salt method. Sprinkle salt around the base of plants or containers to create a physical barrier that slugs and snails will not cross. Salt can be harmful to plants, so it's best to use it sparingly and avoid direct application on the soil or foliage. For Dawn dish soap, mix a few drops of Dawn dish soap with water in a spray bottle. Spray the solution directly onto slugs and snails. The soap will disrupt their protective layer, causing them to die. It's best to apply the spray in the evening or early morning when slugs and snails are most active. 4. Moles. A mixture of Dawn dish soap and castor oil can be used as a mole repellent. Moles dislike the smell of castor oil, and the soap can irritate their skin, encouraging them to move away from the treated area. To create a repellent solution, combine 3 parts castor oil with 1 part Dawn dish soap. Next, add the mixture to water. 4 tablespoons of the mixture to a gallon of water. Pour the solution into mole tunnels and around the entrance holes in your yard. Repeat the process as necessary to maintain the repellent effect. 5. Fleas. While Dawn dish soap and salt can help manage fleas on pets and in the environment, they are not a complete solution and should be used with other methods for effective flea control. Dawn can kill fleas on contact by drowning them, and salt can help dehydrate and kill fleas and their eggs. However, these methods don't address the flea life cycle, so reinfection is likely if you don't also treat the environment. Dawn dish soap, particularly the Blue Dawn, is often used because it's effective at suffocating and drowning fleas. To get rid of fleas using Dawn dish soap, create a simple flea trap by filling a shallow bowl or plate with warm water and adding a few drops of Dawn. Place the dish near areas where fleas are active, like pet bedding or carpets, and set a small lamp or nightlight above it overnight. The light attracts fleas, and when they jump toward it, they fall into the soapy water and drown. For fleas on pets, you can bathe them with a gentle mix of warm water and a few drops of Dawn, never undiluted. Lather thoroughly, especially around the neck and tail, and rinse well. Dawn breaks down the flea's waxy exoskeleton, killing them quickly without harsh chemicals. Always follow up with a flea comb and consult your vet before regular use on pets. To get rid of fleas using salt, simply sprinkle finely ground table salt or sea salt evenly over carpets, rugs, pet bedding, and other areas where fleas may be hiding. The salt acts as a natural dehydrator, drying out and killing adult fleas and their larvae. Leave the salt in place for 24 to 48 hours. Then vacuum thoroughly to remove dead fleas and salt residue. Be sure to empty the vacuum canister or bag outside immediately to prevent reinfestation. Repeat this process every few days for a couple of weeks to break the flea life cycle. Salt is a safe, chemical-free method that's especially effective when used alongside other treatments like flea baths or Dawn dish soap traps. 6. Weeds. A mixture of Dawn dish soap, salt, and vinegar can be used as a homemade weed killer. The dish soap acts as a surfactant, helping the solution adhere to and penetrate the weeds. Salt can dehydrate the weeds, and vinegar, especially a higher concentration, can disrupt the plant's cellular structure. Here's how to prepare and use the solution. You're going to need 1 gallon of white vinegar, 1 cup of salt of Epsom salt or table salt, 1 tablespoon of liquid dish soap. Dawn dish soap is recommended. Next, mix the ingredients together and combine the vinegar, salt, and dish soap in a spray bottle or container. Shake or stir the mixture well until the salt dissolves. Finally, spray the mixture directly onto the weeds, thoroughly covering the leaves and stems. The weeds should start to wilt and die within a few hours. However, there are a few important considerations if you're using this method. Target the weeds only and avoid spraying the solution on desirable plants or turf grass, as it will kill them. This solution primarily kills the top growth of the weeds. You may need to reapply it a few times to eliminate the roots. The solution is most effective when applied on a warm, sunny day when the weeds are actively growing. Salt can affect the soil and make it difficult to grow new plants in the treated area. Be mindful of where you use this solution. 7. Whiteflies. A mixture of Dawn dish soap and salt can be used to control whiteflies, but it's important to use it carefully and potentially combine it with other methods. The dish soap disrupts the insects' breathing and can also dehydrate them, while the salt can be harmful to plants if used in excess. Here's how to use a Dawn dish soap and salt mixture for whiteflies. Mix a small amount of Dawn dish soap, about 1 to 2 teaspoons, with a gallon of water. Avoid using ultra or super concentrated dish soaps as they can be harsher on plants. Dissolve about 1 to 2 tablespoons of salt in the soapy water. However, be mindful that salt can be harmful to plants if overused, so it's best to start with a small amount and observe the plant's reaction. Use a spray bottle to thoroughly coat the affected plants, paying attention to the underside of the leaves where whiteflies tend to lay their eggs. After a short period, say about 30 minutes, rinse the plants with plain water to remove the soap and salt residue, especially if you're concerned about potential damage. Repeat the process every 5 to 7 days for several applications to ensure thorough control of the whitefly population. 8. Mosquito larvae in standing water. Adding Dawn dish soap and salt to standing water can be an effective method for killing mosquito larvae. Dish soap disrupts the surface tension of the water, preventing the larvae from breathing, while salt can dehydrate and kill them. Mosquito larvae need to reach the surface of the water to breathe. Dish soap, like Dawn, creates a film on the water's surface, preventing the larvae from breaking through and suffocating. A few drops of dish soap in standing water are usually sufficient. Salt can dehydrate mosquito larvae, leading to their death. Adding a small amount of salt to the water can help accelerate the process. However, be mindful of using salt in areas where it might harm plants or other wildlife. For smaller containers, a few drops of dish soap or a small amount of salt is enough. For larger areas, you might need to adjust the amount accordingly. Stir the water to ensure the soap and salt are evenly distributed. While this method is generally effective, it's important to note that it might not be a long-term solution, and you may need to reapply the soap and salt, especially after rain. Remember to avoid using dish soap and salt in ponds or areas with fish, frogs, or other aquatic life, as it can be harmful to them. 9. Moss. Dish soap, especially gentle varieties like Blue Dawn, can be effective at killing moss because it disrupts the moss's cell membranes, causing them to dehydrate. While salt can also kill moss by dehydration, it can negatively impact the soil. Excessive salt can hinder the growth of grass and other plants by altering soil pH and water retention. For small patches of moss, mix 2 ounces of dish soap in 1 gallon of water and spray it directly onto the moss. For larger areas, increase the proportions accordingly. Applying the solution on a dry day, preferably when the moss is not wet from rain or dew, can increase its effectiveness. Once the moss turns brown and dies, rake it away and consider reseeding the area with grass if desired. Vinegar can also be used to kill moss, but it's important to use it sparingly and carefully as it can also damage nearby plants and affect soil pH 10. Spider mites. To eliminate spider mites using Dawn dish soap, combine 1 teaspoon of Dawn dish soap or another mild dish soap with 1 quart of lukewarm water in a spray bottle. Ensure the soap is fully dissolved. Spray the solution liberally on the undersides of the leaves, where spider mites are often found. Ensure you coat the stems and other areas where mites may be present. Monitor the plant for spider mites and webbing. If necessary, repeat the treatment every few days until the infestation is under control. That's it. 10 pests, wiped out with nothing more than Dawn and salt. Cheap, easy, natural, no chemicals needed. If this saved your garden or your sanity, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more pest-busting tricks coming soon. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy this next video on how to get rid of pests with vinegar and baking soda naturally.